1 in 4 adults is diagnosed with a mental illness. Over 40% of the population is experiencing anxiety. These numbers are getting worse with the rise of technology and our disconnection from community as we live on technology and devices. And for me, this idea of safety, it's just like, I almost became addicted to being wired. Like I loved the feeling of caffeine. I loved intensity. I loved hardcore. My body got so accustomed to living at this like really intense rate. And we really, what do we call it? We give this a lot of glamour in society, right? It looks really good. The people who out there can do it all and do all these hardcore things.
It's celebrated.
It's celebrated, yeah. And there's no acknowledgement of what it means for somebody to just like, oh, did you tune into your body today? Did you tune into your mindfulness and who you are and how you want to feel in this world and your happiness? And so for me, ultimately through the ashram, it came through meditation. So in meditation, it's training for being out of your practice. You are taught to shut down all of the open running tabs in your mind to tune in, for me, to what it feels like heart coherence. So heart coherence is also something that is now getting a lot of attention, but we can recognize that when you are in a state of fight or flight, of anxiety, worry, or fear, your heart rate variability is off. There's no consistency to your heart vibration. When you're in heart coherence, there's a sense of peace and calm. This is the rest and digest. This is when your hormones are firing properly. When your gut microbiome is synced with your heart, where your heart is synced with your brain. There's coherence between the entire body. And so for me, it's meditation every day. And if I don't do it, I let myself off the hook. I'm a busy working mom, but I do recognize that what it means for me is that I haven't tuned into who I am. I'm running life based on a program and being busy and getting things done instead of stopping and like, holy shit, I'm here in this physical body having this amazing human experience. I have children. I woke up. I have a heart that beats for me every single day. There's so much beauty in this world. So it's like something that's pretty intense, right? If I skip that practice, then I'm really skipping out on ultimately what allows me to feel and see the beauty that exists in myself and in the world.
I love that so much. I'll confess that I have fallen off my meditation practice the last 3 weeks. I have one of my best friends is this beautiful vision worker, and she's incredible. And we're keeping each other accountable most of this year. Where in the morning for 30 minutes minimum, we were both meditating. I think she's continued it. She is so solid in her rituals. But I was just memoing her today about how during a time in a season where it's very full for me, like, extra full, that was the practice that somehow floated away from me. And I woke up this morning and I was like, okay, how, I get to revisit and I get to realign with, the practices that really show up to serve my system and to help me regulate. It's so easy for me to go into hypervigilance and to be in that kind of fight or flight stress mode. And it feels, again, it's so insidious and it's sneaky because, like you said, not only is it celebrated, but also it can feel like kind of a little booster. Like you can kind of get caught up in it.
To be up there.
Yeah. And I've been very addicted in the past. And so I was memoing her and I was like, hey, I would love that gentle accountability, that daily accountability again. And not to say that I get like so many of my patients will come to me and they'll tell me, oh, but Dr. Mariza, I'm not lazy. And I promise you, I'm so disciplined. And yet, And I was like, oh my gosh, we are all so hard on ourselves.
But you just said that word, discipline. Why do we have to associate discipline and hypervigilance with being healthy? Why does it seem so stressful and hard for us to simply be healthy, right? And it's because our priorities are just all wrong. We're prioritizing growth and success. And for me, there's actually a trap of personal growth. I honestly believed that, and a lot of this has to do with my upbringing, like coming from an Indian father, we're constantly in this path of excellence, or even our religious background. It's always about being better, becoming one with God, being on a course of mental growth and personal growth and attainment. And It's like
that
always
you
about
never
being somewhere
reach.
else.
Right.
You never
You're
reach.
chasing the horizon.
Yeah, you might get it when you're dead. It's like, okay, well, if I'm constantly trying to be better, and we live in a world where like one of the biggest industries is on personal growth and wellness and getting better and being somewhere else and feeling different, then we are not accepting the power of now, right? And this is, I think, if we can learn how to live in the now, the choices that we make for our health are going to change. The types of conversations that we have, the work that we pursue, the choices that we make based on our food are all going to be completely different. And this is where I think you and I should like really own in on this for your listeners is why is it that the mindfulness practice is the first thing to go when life gets busy and intense? When we
Yeah.
know the one thing that will
Hmm.
serve us moving forward is that mindfulness practice. And that can be different for all of us. It doesn't have to be sitting for 30 minutes in meditation. It could be a 5-minute walk outside. It could be journaling. It could be dancing. It could be jumping. But I think that's something even for me, it has to do with silence.